I've been trying to make this for quite a while now, not really wanting to kind of commit to a definitive list, but this has been my kind of opinion for about a year now, so I think it's kind of reflective of me now. So yeah, I think most people can agree that the worst kind of Weezer album was Raditude. It's just kind of, it's cheesy, it's bland. It feels like the only guy really on there is Rivers Cuomo, but even then it doesn't really feel like he's adding anything particularly interesting or unique to the kind of the mix. It just seems just bland as fuck, really cringy. Would not recommend this album at all. However, there are a few pretty listenable songs on there. For example, if you're wondering if I Want You To, I Want You To. I don't know where the brackets go, but there are some in there. Turn Me Round is pretty good, but I'm not sure if that's actually on the proper album. I think that's like a sort of extra track that's on my CD. Then there's Tripping Down the Freeway, which is kind of shit in the vocal department or in the lyrical department, but it's pretty catchy. In my opinion, it's really just a lame album. It's like, it doesn't really deserve to be part of Weezer's discography. Next is Make Believe. There are actually some really great guitar lines in this album. Again, the problem is there's no real like interesting songs. It's probably Weezer's most boring album. You just listen to it and every single song is just like this 3-chord like ballad with like some amazing guitar intro and solo and stuff, but then everything else is just kind of lackluster and a bit shit. However, again, there are some decent songs on there, like Perfect Situation, Peace, and We Are All on Hugs. Number 8 is Hurley. It's a pretty crap album again. It's, to be honest, I haven't really given this much of a listen. I've listened to it once all the way through in my life, so I don't kind of want to judge it just based off of that. But I didn't enjoy it at the time, and really I would just never choose to listen to it ever again. The only good songs on there I could think of are Memories, Hang On. Hang On's a really good song. That's got Michael Cera on it, I think. But yeah, I really like that song. And Trainwrecks, maybe. That was a alright song. Again, I haven't bought this album, so never really listened to it. Next is the Red album. There are 3 or 4 good songs on there, but there's a lot of filler, a lot of kind of crap songs. What's his name is also pretty confident on this album, I think. He seemed a lot happier around this time, I'm not sure. I think he made up with his dad or something like that. There are 3 or 4 good songs on this album, like Pork and Beans. That's a really good song, especially the chorus. What else is there? There's Everybody Get Dangerous, which I used to really love when I was 9. I used to think I was so cool, you know, gangster, listening to Everybody Get Dangerous in the car and stuff. And then Dreamin' is also a decent song. It's got kind of lyrics about growing up and not wanting to take responsibility, which is kind of the opposite of how I feel right now. It's a pretty good song. Yeah, I think that What's His Name was a bit more confident on this album, so he was a bit more like, oh yeah, I'm going to be like a celebrity and start to kind of jump around. I don't think he did that for the tour for this album, but definitely he was getting more like, yeah, I'm going to be a front man and stuff like that, which I find a little bit more cheesy and boring. Now we're getting to the good albums. Then there's Everything Will Be Alright in the End, which is like, I think, a really amazing return to form. There's a lot more mature themes, like kind of actual themes on this album than there were basically on any other Weezer album. It's kind of dark, I think, but it's also about Rivers Cuomo sort of feeling a bit more, I've grown up now, a little bit more settled down, kind of, and he's sort of smoothing his life out a bit, instead of sort of being like, oh, I need a girlfriend, oh, girlfriend. There are a few of those songs, but, you know, they're actually the best ones on the album. For example, Lonely Girl and Go Away, they're really good with woman from Best Coast. And then there's Foolish Father, which I thought was a really great ending. And this album really reminds me of like starting secondary school. I don't know if you remember, but I used to make a lot of videos about this sort of album and Weezer and stuff back around that time, like 3 years ago or something. And yeah, it really makes me kind of think back to that and the first kind of half term of different school, big school, and yeah, I don't know, it kind of, all these albums bring back a lot of memories, even the bad ones, apart from Hurley and Make Believe, because I hardly ever listen to them. And also on this album there's some really cool guitar work on some songs. It's not like to Blue Album or Maladroit Level or anything like that, but they're pretty good pretty good solos. There are some really good solos, especially on like Cleopatra, I think, and also those last three ones. I can't remember what's called. It's like a really obnoxious name or something. But yeah, I remember that being that's a really enjoyable album, and it's one that I probably listen to more than once a year. Number 5 is the Green Album. There are some really catchy songs on here. This is just there's almost Beatlesy kind of just level of just bashing out songs. The fact that there are so many songs and they're all so sort of similar and formulaic kind of makes it bland in a way. Like, I'll talk about it more in a minute, but Pinkerton kind of has a lot of character and hidden little things in the songs. These are just sort of the basics. I reckon they probably tried as little as possible to kind of get this. The drumming is boring, guitar work is boring. There are some good songs on here, and catchy songs that stay in your head. Like, just thinking of the names of the songs is really like bringing back the actual melodies. Although they all do blur together in the second half a little bit. But yeah, I listened to this recently just kind of for this purpose, for this video, and yeah, it was one of the most enjoyable albums. I was actually really surprised by how much I liked it. Some really good songs on this album are Photograph, Glorious Day, and Oh Girlfriend. I'm going to say I really like them. I think this album got a lot of love when it first came out, but I don't think it's aged very well in terms of fan kind of love, unlike Pinkerton and whatever. So, but yeah, it is a bit flat in terms of performance and production, and just general kind of lyrics. Just everything is a bit samey, but I'm not complaining. If this album was made now, if this was what Pacific Daydream was, I'd be like, oh man, it's like the best album they've ever made or whatever. So so yeah, I really do think it's, I want to say it's underrated, to be honest, because I think at the time it came out everyone loved it and stuff, I think. But yeah, I actually really like this album. This is where the albums are really getting good. 4 is the White Album. No, I didn't actually do a proper review of this album when it came out. I said I would, and I made about 4 of them, but never kind of seemed to get the words together to like properly. I was just saying a lot of random stuff, really. It wasn't really I don't think I really gave it a proper listen. I was kind of rushing to get the video out. Never really gave it a real listen, a real chance, and I love this album so much. I mean, there's no denying it's a pop album. Like, it's a pop album, but it's one with like distorted guitars, funky drums, and weird as fuck lyrics. And to be honest, I can't bash it. I really love it. I'm gonna say the best songs on this one are Summer Lane in Drunk Dory, Wind in Our Sail, and Endless Bummer. All really good songs. The Endless Bummer is a really kind of great ending, rivaling Only in Dreams in my opinion, and Butterfly. In fact, I'd say it's better than Butterfly. It's got kind of a bit of a solo as well, and it's not too pretentious either, like Return to Ithaca or whatever it was it a Future Scope trilogy. It's kind of a lot more modest, but it's also, I can relate to it as well. It's kind of about being bored of the summer and that kind of thing, wanting it to end. That's how I felt about 2 weeks ago. Number 3 is Maladroit. Super fucking stellar guitars on this album. Like, this is when Rivers just lets down his shred hair and just kind of like shows off to everyone how he can like play loads of notes and stuff. But it's really melodic as well. It's like melodic metal is how I could define it. It's like really, really good. It's the perfect album for a rainy day, and more so than Green Album, it's definitely underappreciated. It's really like, people don't really talk about this album very much. It's kind of overlooked and taken for granted, I think, in the Weezer discography. It's pretty solid, but again, it's under the kind of the same, it suffers from the same problem that I think that Green Album had a little bit. The songs are quite formulaic, and they're also quite, they all kind of blur together a little bit in the album. They don't really stand out very much. They're not kind of good in their own right. It's kind of more of a kind of overall product. The album, like the songs, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Probably quite a lot of filler, but also the filler is nice. So now I really like Keep Fishing, Possibilities, and Dope Nose. Number 2 is the Blue Album. This album changed my life, really. I kind of went from being this kind of kid who kind of wanted to just fit in at school and play football even though I actually hated it and that sort of thing, to kind of being a confident, strong, independent 9-year-old. And I can't really like, and that means a lot to me. This album, it's catchy songs from the start to the finish. They all remain in your heads forever. Stellar guitar work, especially on Only in Dreams. And yeah, it's just amazing. I've talked about this quite a lot before in previous videos, but it's just a really, really, really amazing album. It brings back so many memories. It's like brilliant. I can still listen to it to this day, and I've still not got bored of it at all. Unlike any other album I've listened to, apart from, I would give a list of songs that are really good. I mean, I particularly like Surf Wax America, Say It Ain't So, Undone, the Sweater Song, but to be honest, they're all just as good as each other, really. They're all amazing songs, although I do find My Name's Jonas a little bit boring now. I've heard it so much. It still makes my kind of heart go, ooh, as soon as at the start of the album goes off, and it's brilliant, really. Classic. And then number 1 is Pinkerton. Once again, amazing songs from start to finish. Perfect production. Messy in all the right places. It's kind of like, it's like you listen to it once, and then you don't really pick up on these little things like with your headphones, and then you listen to it hundreds. I've listened to it hundreds of times, probably actually like genuinely 100 times, and you pick up on the little kind of like la 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 la's in the background. It's like so layered, so it's like an enormous universe. Like I can't describe it, I can't put this into words, but it's like amazing. Perfect production. And there are these orgasmic drum fills. The sound of the drums, the way he plays them, it's brilliant. It's just literally legendary. I cannot see how people did not like this at the time. It is like my favourite album without having to think about anything, without having to really think. I mean, once again, every single song is really, really solid, but to be honest, I'm going to say Tide of Sex, Across the Sea, and Pink Triangle, and Falling for You, and Butterfly, and Why Bother. Oh, they're all great. They're all great. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully, I will also review Pacific Daydream, but don't quote me on that. I might not. And thank you for the 2,000 views and counting on my last video. That's quite good for me. That's a pretty good view count for me. And yeah, so keep fishing if you feel it's true. Don't actually, because I'm a vegan and I do not condone any animal cruelty, such as fishing, hunting, and eating animals or drinking their milk.